start this going now. So
Okay.
Brett Sampson, you are what is your official title?
I'm Director of Public Affairs at Brigham Young University-Idaho and the Community Liaison.
All right, great. And Brett, you guys, like every other university in the country, have quickly adapted to the events of the past few weeks. Overall view, how are things looking right now with the university?
All things considered, things are looking very well. It was interesting. I was actually thinking about this, and it just occurred to me this morning that I've been here for 20 years since the time we transitioned from Ricks College to BYU-Idaho. And it occurred to me that our employees have gone through so many changes and are just examples of people who just get down, roll up their sleeves, and get it done. That this, I think, is just the next thing.
That's crazy, first of all, to hear that it's been 20 years. When you said that, I
Yeah,
realized, wow, 2000.
right.
One of the big things was transitioning to online learning 100%. I know the university had already focused on that for years. I mean, probably 20 years ago, at least 10, 15, it was an
Sure.
online focused model. Has there been much adjustment for the professors, for the educators?
An incredible amount of adjustment, despite the work we've been doing, as you said, for 15 years, going so much online. But again, I think that's a provident thing for BYU Idaho, is that we have been so focused with online learning. We've learned a lot on the way, but everybody has been working hard. There are many teachers, most teachers, who have not had remote learning or online classes. And so everybody to some degree has had to make some adjustments.
And overall, has it been successful?
Overall, I think so. I think the feeling I have, and you've probably seen it with talking to people in the community, we're all in this together. And that's the sense I've had from students and faculty alike, is we're patient with each other, we're adjusting, we're making allowances with things that don't work as well remote, and we're just helping each other out.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the campus. Is it officially closed? Like, are there still people, cleaning the buildings or whatever? Or is it kind of a ghost town?
You'd think it's more of a ghost town. It is essentially closed. Only essential workers are on campus, and those that we have in custodial are going a little extra on the cleaning of those facilities that are open. But all the buildings are locked. There are signs on the doors. And so those who are on campus to take care of what needs to be done there are limiting what time they do have there. They're social distancing. They're being very careful. We have extra sanitizers around campus as well. Those things were put into place even before the campus was closed.
Yeah. Now the campus wasn't the on-campus semester, or I guess technically the semester is supposed to end. Is it this week or next week?
It's this week.
This week.
Yeah.
And then there's a break. Obviously, graduation ceremonies won't be held with a gathering. What do
Right.
you anticipate for next semester? Are students being asked to stay wherever they are at home?
Yes, very clearly, students and employees have been urged to stay where they are. We have relayed the governor's order, those instructions. We've been communicating quite a bit with the campus community to make sure they have that up-to-date information. But everybody's been instructed to stay where they are, and all classes will be remote in spring semester.
And I'm assuming it's too early to make a call for the fall semester at this point.
It is too early to make a call on that. We're all wondering.
Yeah, I'm sure most people are hoping that won't be the case, that everyone will be able to come back.
Sure. Yeah, as much as everybody's adjusting to the changes, we all want life to get back to normal, whatever normal will be after this. But we do have hopes for the fall. We just continue to monitor what the government's saying, what our board of trustees is saying, what the governor's saying. All the instruction we've been receiving, we've been relaying.
And we do know that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, who operates and owns BYU Idaho, has been extremely careful worldwide, bringing home
Yeah.
missionaries and church meetings being held at home now. What do you say to international students that maybe don't have a place to go home? First of all, do you have any idea how many students are left in Rexburg, and what are they supposed to do when they really don't have families here in the country that they can go stay with?
Sure. It's really hard to pinpoint or pin down those numbers of students who are still in town. We've talked a little bit to apartment managers to get an idea of those who have left. It's been kind of a trickle since any changes were made to campus, and especially when classes went online. There's a special concern for those international students who have specific regulations for what they can and can't do. And so I don't have all the details with that, but I know that our international relations and student relations office is working closely with them. You know, along the way, we started to learn about students who were just kind of in especially hard times with not being able to work and, of course, things changing the way they have. And so we're trying to take care of those as well. We learned of faculty that were feeding some students. And so the school itself has tried to step in and be a help to those. But as you mentioned, with international students, there are special concerns that we're trying to keep track of and make sure are met.
Yeah, you mentioned the apartment managers. Has the housing, obviously, all these apartment managers were expecting a flood of students, and now they're not coming, or there might be a few here and there, as you mentioned, and they're taking precautions, I would imagine, per complex. But has the situation with, contracts and possible refunds, has that been resolved? How is the university dealing with that?
I'd say as far as apartment owners and those contracts with students, they are in the process of being resolved in different ways. I just saw a report today of the many different ways that those owners and managers are handling that. We've encouraged those managers to be helpful and fair about what they're doing, and we've encouraged students to work with those individual managers. It looks like there's a whole range. Nobody is holding students completely to the contract that they originally signed, but the range of what those apartment owners are doing differs, from letting some students just out of their contracts entirely to some fees for deferring or just deferring entirely their contract.
Okay. And that's up to the different complex or the different owners to decide what they do.
Right.
Okay. What would you say is the message from the university to the students that eagerly want to come back and be with their friends and be back in the classroom? And I would imagine the staff too and the faculty, get back to normal life. What's the
Yeah.
university's message to them?
There's just an overwhelming sense of gratitude and love and respect for our wonderful students. We talk so much about being student focused, but in these circumstances, I'm really seeing it in ways I never imagined, where faculty are just going out of their way to get new equipment, to learn new ways of teaching, to adjust their classes to be all remote. And bless those students' hearts, they are adjusting and doing everything they can to fulfill what they need to do to get their education. But overall, it just seems like there's a sense of working together. We're all in this together. We're helping one another. And I think we see mostly just the best in all of us.
All right, Brett, is there anything that you want to add?
I think there's some great resources on our homepage. There's a COVID-19 button and there's a spring semester button for anybody who has questions. We continue to communicate with specifics as we get information and as decisions are made by the administration. Our top administration is meeting daily for hours each day to figure things out and do everything they can to help the students in particular, but help everybody as we make these adjustments.
All right, thank you very much, Brett Sampson, for talking with us.
My
I'm going to
pleasure.
end this, but I have